Daniel, number 6, Daniel's prophecy.
From his youth, Daniel had lived in Babylon and helped several kings rule the people. During those many years, he had never forgotten his childhood home in Jerusalem or the temple of the Lord. Daniel had read the letters the prophet Jeremiah wrote to his captive people. Daniel and the other Jews happily remembered Jeremiah's promise that they would return to their own land after 70 years. The 70 years would soon be up. How Daniel longed to see his people return to their land and rebuild the temple of the Lord. Sometimes Daniel prayed all day long for himself and his people. Sometimes he could not eat. Sometimes he even dressed in sackcloth and sat in ashes to show God how sorry he was for his sins and the sins of his people. God heard Daniel's prayers. One night, as Daniel was lying on his bed, he had a dream with visions in his mind. Daniel had interpreted the dreams of others, and now God was showing Daniel many things about the future in this dream. Daniel wrote down the dream, and you can read it in the book of Daniel, chapter 7. This is what Daniel wrote.
In my vision at night I was watching, and suddenly the 4 winds of heaven stirred up the great sea. 4 huge beasts came up from the water. Each beast was different from the other beasts. The first beast was like a lion but had eagle's wings. I continued watching as the wings were torn off. Then the beast was lifted off the ground and set upright on its feet like a man. The beast was given a human mind. Suddenly another beast appeared, a second one that looked like a bear. It was raised up on one side with 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. A voice spoke to the beast.
"Get up! Gorge yourself on flesh!"
While I was watching, another beast appeared. It was like a leopard with 4 bird-like wings on its back. It had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. While I continued watching in the vision, a 4th beast appeared. This beast was frightening and dreadful and incredibly strong, with large teeth made of iron. It devoured and crushed and trampled with its feet whatever was left. It was different than the other 3 beasts, and it had 10 horns. As I studied the 10 horns, suddenly another horn, a little one, came up among the other horns, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted and fell out. This new horn had eyes like a man's eyes, and it had a mouth. The mouth spoke arrogantly. The horn began fighting against the holy ones. As the war continued, the horn was defeating the holy ones and was winning the battle against them. Then the Ancient of Days arrived, and the battle was over, and the horn was defeated. The holy ones took possession of the kingdom. As I kept watching, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white like snow, and the hair of his head like whitest wool. His throne was flaming fire, and it had wheels that were blazing with fire. A river of fire was flowing, coming out of his presence. All mankind stood before the Ancient of Days. The court was convened with him as the judge, and the books were opened. I watched then because of the sound of the arrogant words the horn was speaking. As I continued watching, the 4th beast was killed, and its body destroyed and was consumed in a burning fire. As I continued watching, I saw one like a son of man come in with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days. He was given authority to rule, and he was given glory, and he was given a kingdom so that every person, nation, and language should serve him. His kingdom is eternal and will never be destroyed. After seeing these things, I was very distressed. I spoke to one standing next to me to explain the true meaning of all this, so he let me know the interpretation of these things. He said, "The 4 huge beasts are 4 kings who will rise to power on the earth, but the holy ones of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever and ever."
Daniel asked to know more about the 4th beast, the one different from the others, and about the 10 horns on its head. This is what he said.
"The 4th beast will be a 4th kingdom on the earth, different than the other kingdoms. It will devour the whole earth, trample it down, and crush it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will arise from this kingdom. Another king will arise and will conquer 3 kings. He will speak words against the Most High and oppress the holy ones of the Most High. He will intend to change religious festivals and laws, and the holy ones will be handed over to him for 3.5 years. Then his dominion will be taken away, to be completely destroyed forever. The kingdoms under all heaven will be given to the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all will serve and obey him."
The visions terrified Daniel, and his face turned pale. But Daniel faithfully wrote down what he saw and heard. This is not the only vision that was shown to Daniel. Daniel's other visions are recorded in the book of Daniel, chapters 8 through 12. Daniel's mind was filled with exciting and frightening prophetic thoughts. Perhaps it was easy for those things to become a distraction instead of a blessing to Daniel. So the angel concluded with an important reminder.
"Go your way till the end."
This meant that God had a course he wanted Daniel to complete, and Daniel needed to remain focused on that. As Daniel grew old, he continued to work in the government. When King Darius died, King Cyrus took Daniel as an advisor in the capital city of Persia. Daniel still prayed earnestly for his people and looked forward to the day when the Jews would return to their homeland. Daniel had faithfully served 4 great kings of Babylon and Medo-Persia: Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Darius, and Cyrus. Daniel lived to see the time when King Cyrus allowed the Jews to return to their homeland. Daniel was both a great statesman and a great prophet. By his courage and loyalty to God, he helped several heathen kings respect the one true God. There are many things we can learn from this lesson. I've thought of 3, maybe you can think of more. First, the reign of Jesus will be permanent. Even though evil appears to rule our world, we know how things turn out in the end. We can rejoice because we have a sure hope for the future. Second, Daniel's faithful service to the Lord while living in a foreign land makes him unique among almost all the people recorded in the Bible. Daniel stands out as one of the few people in the Bible to have a completely positive record of his actions. The book of Daniel paints a portrait of how to serve God faithfully in the middle of a sinful world and how to continue with hope even when things get us down. What a great example Daniel is for us to follow. Third, if you have never asked Jesus to be your Savior, consider these words about the future from the last chapter of the book of Daniel. I urge you to receive Jesus today. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Daniel 12:2.